Oh, we live. You think I'd just pay attention and see when it starts counting?
Yeah, probably should.
I can't do it. There we go. Got the Instagram set up. Perfect. There we go. I think we're good. I think we got everything. All right. So we have Iowa short track this week. All I can say is thank baby Jesus for NBC.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great that the season's actually now started.
It took this long, but finally we have some.
God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Still down there. Still down there.
Still outside corner. Your helmet one.
Was out. Hell was out. Danny just about outwrecked him. And then she busted her ass.
Cutting it closer, aren't you?
I don't know what you're talking about. I was here the entire time.
Hey,
Fat boy about to have a coronary. All right.
You have shit or something?
No. I had to run and get my beverage. My beverage of choice. My juice. But all right. So as I was saying before I was rudely cut off yet again.
Don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I thought. NBC coming in clutch. This was some of the best looking. Sorry, still trying to get this thing open. Some of the best looking.
Dude.
So what?
Come on, dude.
I know, man.
Yeah, it was the best fucking broadcast of the season. Which
definitely best broadcast.
Doesn't take much to do.
Who would have thought that you wait for your commercials till the part of the cautions that nobody cares about, like after the pit row?
NBC.
Like, who would have thought that was a good idea?
NBC.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What about every time there's a green flag pit stop, they do picture in picture? Who would have thought that's a good idea?
You didn't like the commercial break after lap 7 with Fox?
Oh wait, I thought it was after lap 7, then after lap 9, then after lap 12, then after lap 14.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
And I don't know. I wish I could get an actual count. I haven't counted any of them. I'd love to get an actual count because I'm sure it's not far off the number of commercials that NBC has compared to Fox. However, NBC just knows what the heck they're doing.
I'm going to look that up right now.
Did someone keep those stats?
Yeah. Might take a second.
That's fine. All right. Well, I'll start with these chats while we're waiting for you to find that. What's up, Dakota? How's it going, buddy?
Hey.
How's it going, Fuller? Full game. Ryan Blaney, corn star extraordinaire. He has won in all 3 series. He is the first Cup Series, or first driver to win in all 3 series in Iowa. Fun fact. We know
there was something that they said that it was the first time Blaney's ever led over like 200 laps in a race.
Yeah, over 200, 200 and I don't remember how many, but
that's
first
crazy to me.
Yeah. Is it mean or is it me probably, or does Ryan Blaney just get lucky all the time? More than just you. Iowa baby, yes, and we actually have
NASCAR driver.
Yes, that one. I can't.
I think that was probably the most refreshing part.
What's up, Zeph? Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best part where we don't have these stupid arcade action figures.
I'm having a hard time finding it. I don't think it may not be out yet. Sometimes it takes a couple of days to update that. But I feel like there probably was the same amount of commercials. If not, it was less, but they were placed perfectly. Like you said.
Oh, yeah, they did a fantastic job.
They didn't put the commercial breaks in the middle of a green flag run when there was actually racing going on.
They did, but they still did the picture-in-picture ones.
Yes.
so that you could actually still watch the racing. You
Well,
know what everyone.
that's what I mean. Like, I don't like the picture-in-picture commercials. Like, I don't know if I even count those as commercials because I couldn't tell you what commercials are playing because I'm watching the fucking race. You all right there, buddy? What's wrong, Luke?
I don't know what you're talking about. Just because I'm fat, it's got to be food.
No, I said Luke.
Oh. All right. Finally got things rolling right over here. But yeah, so I mean, definitely some awesome action. The three-way cameras, the dual cameras.
Yes.
That was phenomenal.
And they'd done that years past, but I mean, I think it's just like every single year we have Fox and they're having ghost cars and all this other bullshit going on in the broadcast that you care nothing about. And then NBC just comes in and steps their production game up, and it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, I know we all watch qualifying and everything. Like, no ghost car. They actually had like the car on the track, and we're like talking about the car on the track instead of like half the screen, if not more, of the screen being a fucking ghost car that you care less about.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I heard a couple people complain, the only critique, not complain, only critique I heard about was they didn't have the green-red ticker while they were still qualifying to see if they were doing better or worse. Everyone hated the ghost car, but they just were talking about the ticker.
Yeah, I think, and that might have had something to do with just the fact that qualifying shit was all messed up. Like, let's go ahead and just jump into this weekend. There was the rain and everything that started, and they had to adjust qualifying procedures to where we still had Group A and Group B qualifying. However, it was one single round for each group, and the fastest five would be like the top 10, like that's where they qualified at. But then Group A was inside line, Group B was outside. Like, it was just if it's not confusing enough for fans when they do all this qualifying stuff and everything. Now they just like willy-nilly change the rules on the go and then, make it all like everybody in the group chat was like, wait, what? What's going on here?
Yeah, and that's I like this kind of qualifying, but I wish the one problem with this one was there was such a stark difference between Group A and Group B. Obviously, yeah, and that's because the track rubbered in. And in my opinion, that's what you get for having the points that you have. But it's got to mesh better with the groups to make that really worth it.
Well, I mean, Denny Hamlin was in Group A. And
that's what I'm saying. They got to do it better with the points. So, if you're going to do it point-based, it needs to be
metrics and everything. But, again, just going to beat a dead horse here. Like, do we need Group A, Group B qualifying and all these other rounds and all this stuff? Like, what was wrong with single car qualifying and just the slowest guy in practice was the first one to go out? Like, Austin Dillon, we know Austin Dillon was not really a performer of recent, but he was the first guy out and he qualified dead last.
Yeah, Austin Dillon was terrible. He was going for worst qualifying lap and worst qualifying or practice and everything. He did terrible. RCR is in a bad spot right now. If you're trying to say anything otherwise, they ain't doing good right now.
Yeah.
The only complaint I had was if Steve Letarte had a few to take the edge off, or what be kind of kept tripping over his words quite a bit. I didn't pay attention to that part. I was listening to
MRN. Just blame it on the first race for NBC this year. They'll get it together after the first couple weeks.
Yeah. I was listening to PRN for all qualifying. Obviously, we have our pick league, and you got to be quick with it. So there's certain things you got to do to make sure you get the good picks.
The other thing too is that I know Dale Jr. is not in the booth this year with NBC, but I mean, I think we were all looking forward so much to NBC coming back and just getting rid of Fox and moving on with the season that, I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the broadcast this weekend. I missed Dale, but I thought Rick Allen and Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton, they all did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% there. And that's what I kind of think helped this race make it so good because of the production that NBC put on and because we were so used to Fox and just how terrible they are. I think that only made this race better because if you really look at it, Ryan Blaney started on the front row. Ryan Blaney finished first.
Yeah.
If Larson would not have gotten into the tire trouble he had, which we'll talk about later, as well as the wreck that he had, he probably also would have stayed in the entire front. So it's not like the racing was uber goodness, but it looked entertaining because Fox pans away as soon as there's a battle for something.
They
NBC,
either pan away or they're zoomed in so much that you can't see what actually is happening, like outside that little battle. Like they may be zoomed in on 2 cars, but it's like 7 cars battling for one position. They're just zoomed in on 2 of them. Like there was,
100%.
I can't think of the examples, but there was 1 or 2 times in the race yesterday that they missed some, like the broadcasters missed the call. I wouldn't even say they missed it. They were, like 10 seconds behind. Like I saw somebody get loose off of turn 4, about put it in the wall, and like it was clearly on TV. And then the broadcast picked up, and it might have been Burton that said it, but either way, like at least they caught it and mentioned it. Whereas like Fox, it would have been like right in front of them, and they wouldn't have said anything.
They
about
said
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the fact. Obviously, we had the I think it was Haley. No, it was Hemrick. When Hemrick got in and caused that yellow, they NBC, instead of just agreeing with it or just saying one thing and then skipping over to the next topic, going into interviews with pit crews or drivers or their families of the pit crews or someone else that nobody cares about, they stayed this time and they actually talked about how nobody thought it was really a caution. They didn't think that it was supposed to be a caution and that it shouldn't have been compared to what other things we had seen on the track that day.
Yeah, I think I think that's a great point though. Like as soon as it switches over to NBC, we're so grateful for it because even if the racing isn't that great, they show so much. They keep up with so much of the racing that's on. Like every time we go to a race in person, we always love the race. Like it doesn't matter if it's a little bit of a snoozer or whatever. There's still a lot of action to pay attention and watch. Whereas like fans on TV would be like, nah, that was a boring race, whatever it was. They vote really low on the Jeff Gluck polls and whatnot. But when you're there in person, they look great. Well, I think it's the same thing with NBC. They do such a good job of staying with the action and showing, okay, so if the leader's out to a 3-second lead, there's nothing going on there, but they're actually watching some of the battles that are happening 25th, whatever it is, and they're keeping up with that stuff. So like Fox, they would just be panned on like 5th place talking about them, but the leader is sliding it off a turn 4, whatever it is.
Yeah, they wanted to show off their cameras, not the racing.
Yeah,
and when that's not.
No, they wanted to show off the fans in the stands, especially the kids. Like that was the other thing. Like we didn't get any of those stupid shots for like 30 seconds, just staring at people in the stands or whatever, or the side by side of the same fan. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like those type of botches and everything, that's unacceptable. And so just a breath of fresh air.
It definitely was. I mean, they did the right things at the right moments. They showed the crowd before the race started. They showed the crowd after the race ended. They did not show the crowd other than the shots that you would just see from them panning around during the race. 100% fine with that. I enjoyed the pit crew things, but they just timed it so bad on Fox. So
the pit crew like spotlights or whatever.
Yes, the pit crew spotlights.
Yeah.
I was a fan of those because I do think it's good to call out some of these pit crews. I mean, obviously we know Brandon, Pit Marine. They don't get their stories told very much, and so it's really cool that they were doing that. But they timed it just awful.
Yeah, they'd be in the middle of like a 3-wide battle for the lead. Like they just go full screen.
It made no sense whatsoever. My other the only critique I have for NBC is back in the day they had the clock for the damage clock, and I really wish they would bring that back because they were showing they had perfect cameras on Larson and Hamlin for the damaged vehicle policy, and they're sitting there, they're working on their cars, and I'm like, is his time up? Like I feel like his time was almost up, and I have no clue what's going on when it comes to that timer that they have. So I think it'd be really cool if NBC would add like a scroll bar across the bottom in red of the DVP clock and the driver's name and what time they're on.
Well, you know how like especially with NBC, when there's a driver who has a penalty. So we saw multiple times yesterday there was a driver that had a speeding penalty or whatever. I think. Yeah. Who was it? Maybe it was Truex.
Truex got one. Hamlin got So Truex, Hamlin, Larson ended up with pit penalties that I know
But they
of.
showed, but like on the ticker, the side ticker or whatever, they expanded with the driver picture, name, and everything, and it was like all in red, pass through penalty, too many men over the wall, whatever it was, like the penalty listing. And so, like, if they would do something like that with the DVP and let you know that, hey, Larson, Hamlin, they're both on pit road, DVP, this is how much time they have left. Like, yeah, that would be fantastic. I mean, we're not to this point yet, but like, why do we even have DVP? I hate it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that
let's go ahead and just roll into that. Let's get into the DVP discussion.
Yeah. So like, I love the fact that Kyle was able to, obviously he got the wreck, but he was able to go out there. They fixed the car, met minimum speed, cleared the DVP clock. And then they're like, okay, well, we have a bad brake line. It's leaking fluid. I have no brake pedal. They took to the garage. They fixed it in the garage, got most of the suspension like straightened out and everything. There was a bent toe link or whatever that, or no, it was a control arm. And Cliff was like, we can't do anything about it. Like, we don't have enough time to fix it, in the garage.
Yeah.
We're going to lose too much time. So
yeah,
they went out there, car, still kind of drove like shit, but still 35 laps down. And then Kyle Busch has a problem. He went out there past Kyle Busch, got one more point. Who knows when we get to now Darlington for the final regular season finale, that 1 point may mean a big difference when it comes to the regular season championship. So
how many times have we seen that?
Yes, the DVP, and it's not just this weekend as an example. All throughout the season, every point matters. DVP, if you just get rid of it. If these guys can go out there and meet minimum speed, then that's fine. That's all they need to do. Who cares about how much fucking damage? Because the way they have it now is like you can't replace body panels, so you don't have parts falling off the car.
And the other part to it too, in my opinion, is right now you rush fixes that could lead to more damage rather than let them have the time. They're going laps down. Just don't wave them around.
Let them go to the garage for 30 laps and fix the car right. At least get it to where it's drivable and they can go back out there. Exactly. Are they in the way? Potentially, but who cares? They're still out there to try to get as many points as possible.
Exactly, because every year we end up where it's 2-3 points away from making that cut line, or 2-3 points from getting to those extra points that you need. The ever faithful playoff points. Yeah. Points matter. Drivers, it's just like the waivers. Drivers are not going to race. They're not going to pull their car in the garage, wait for whatever, and then come back out. They're not going to do that because there's sponsor money on the line, there's points on the line, and playoff points are on the line. They have got to go for all three of those things because at the end of the year, one, they need a paycheck, and two, they need to make it to the championship.
Yeah, I don't know why we still have the DVP. I know that it was implemented because of how much debris was falling off the cars and all the debris cautions and whatever else that, they could make an excuse for. But if they got rid of the rule to where you can't even replace body panels on the car, then who cares about fixing the car within 8 minutes? I think it is now that, okay, if you don't fix it in 8 minutes, then you're out of the race. Like there was a time, I think Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s 97 season, horrible year for him, but he definitely went the entire year without a DNF. Mm-hmm. Like rolled on the backstretch at Daytona for the 500.
Kept going.
10, 20 laps to go or whatever, got out of the car, got in the ambulance. We all know the story. He got back in the car and finished the race. And because of that, they didn't have a DNF the entire year. Like that's huge. Like you look at Chase Elliott right now. Sure, he's won one race and his average finish is pretty decent, but like he's consistently finishing every single race. I think it's only other than one lap this year that he didn't finish. So a lap down or something. So he's finished almost all but one lap of the entire year, which I mean, that's not talked about enough. These guys nowadays, they end up with 6 or 7 DNFs a year if they're put in unfortunate situations.
Well, and I want to touch on that. You talk about Chase Elliott right there and his consistency of finishing. Who's leading the points right now?
Chase Elliott.
Consistency still pays. Yeah. And that's the thing. Those DNFs, that's what's hurting more than it helping anything. It's not like they could have earned a ton of points out of it. However, they could have earned 1 or 2 points. Those 1 or 2 points could mean something later.
I mean, a perfect example was with Larson this weekend. Like he was 35 laps down. Kyle Busch then had his incident, and Kyle had to go to the garage. He was out of the race. He passed Kyle, made up 35 laps on Kyle, and got one more position. That's instead of having 21 points for the race, he got 22 points for the races.
Yeah,
that 1 point could mean a big deal.
Yeah,
and make it even more interesting when it comes down to the end of the season.
100%. Could be a lot of money. Could be playoff points. Could be a bunch of different things. It can be
correct.
So we need to fix that part. I 100% agree with you.
Dakota commented Dalton tire counter. So we had tire issues this weekend.
Yeah, and we kind of knew it was going to be coming.
That was kind of like Bristol, not to the extent like every 15, 20 laps a tire blowing out, but I would definitely say that they've taken a step in the right direction. I feel like with the tires. The only thing is that Blaney was on left side tires for 100 and something laps. They could definitely do something there. But
yeah, I mean, obviously, when it comes to
what?
Did you look what Connor posted in the group chat?
I'm afraid to.
Look at the picture. So it's putting out there who's sponsored by what. It's basically the driver list, but it shows who the main sponsor is.
Oh, I mean Cooper.
Cooper. I just looked real quick, but look at number 15, Kaz Gralla. Look who his main sponsor is.
What the fuck is that?
How is that possible? So we can't have alcohol. We can have fruities alcohols, but we can't have Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, the good boys back. But we can have meat in Fuck Kingdom. Sorry for my language. That's literally the sponsor for 15 Kaz Gralla at New Hampshire. How?
What?
Oh my goodness. NASCAR, your rules just make no sense. Oh my goodness. I can't wait till they try to talk about that on NBC. Well, we got Kaz Gralla and the meat and potatoes car, and
I didn't pay attention to this, but who was the sponsor on Kyle Busch's driver picture for NBC?
Oh, I didn't pay attention.
Because, like, we can go back and shit talk on Fox here for a second. Like, they chose to put the cartoon comic character of Kyle Busch in his zone uniform, but had to blur it all out, make it all blank and everything. Like, Kyle's got like 17 different sponsors. Why don't you use Lavino or FICO or whoever he's being sponsored by?
Rebel.
Exactly. I don't understand any of that.
But they can.
How about Kyle Larson?
Meat and potatoes.
How about Kyle Larson on the pre-race interview when they were warming up and everything? And at the very end, he's like, "It's good to have you guys back."
Yeah,
like
even
Larson
was like
throwing shade.
Dude, everyone knows NBC is leaps and bounds above Fox.
Yeah,
just 100%. And what's sad is IndyCar doesn't know what they've gotten themselves into. Congratulations, you probably just lost viewership, and you didn't even have to have a terrible race to do so.
Did they have viewership to begin with? That's.
I want to see what's going to happen when there's Indy races the same time as NASCAR races.
The Indy 500 is going to be on Fox. Like that's.
Well, that's fine because the Indy 500 is the same as the Coke.
Yes.
Yes, which is going to be on Amazon.
Amazon's doing the Coke 600. Like that's all cool and all, but like what I'm saying is like Fox is going to have the Indy 500 now. It's just like
and Daytona.
How bad they are.
They're going to have Daytona and Indy.
Get to that if Fox like overproduces the Indy 500 and makes like an actual good production.
Dude, if they make a good production for IndyCar, I don't know what it is. It's got to be in whatever the agreement package was, because apparently IndyCar wanted more airtime, and from what it was said is Fox gave it. why won't Fox give it to NASCAR? We pull more viewership. Like, what are we talking about? I can't believe how refreshing it was. I literally forgot that there was going to be an after the race portion of the broadcast.
I know.
And so I left to go to the gas station to grab a Powerade because I was freaking thirsty. And I get back and it's going. I'm like, oh shit! And I rewound it and watched the whole thing again.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed up till 11 o'clock watching the post race stuff. Like, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night watching post race stuff. Like
But Fox can't do that. But apparently they can give Indy whatever they need for their airtime. Come on now.
So here's another good question. Like, I don't want to talk about Fox anymore. Like this is over with. But just one last thing. Like, so Race Hub has gone away. That's the death of Race Hub. So next year,
Radioactive lives on.
When Fox is doing their coverage for the first, what's it going to be, 12 races or something like that?
10 or 12, yeah.
Yeah. So when Fox is doing the coverage for that, are they still not going to have post race coverage? And then we don't have anything during the week now?
I don't think they're – so Radioactive is staying, but it's going to be on their YouTube. We just got that news today. So I'm happy that's happening. Yeah. I feel like they haven't announced it yet, but there's going to be a streaming only NASCAR show that's on either Amazon or somewhere.
Who was talking about that? Was Dale talking about that on the Dale Jr. download?
I see Race Hub moving to Prime. That's the one I'm thinking. Or don't hate me. Dale I can see Apple TV. I can see Apple TV getting in this mix.
Dale was talking about this though too on I think it was on last week's episode of the Dale Jr. download. He was specifically saying that NASCAR has invested millions of dollars in their new production facility in Charlotte, North Carolina, which that facility is going to be doing a lot of the Xfinity stuff. Yes. So is it possible that we are going to be getting it may not be like on YouTube TV or whatever, but like a dedicated NASCAR channel that you could, maybe it's $5 a month or maybe
So I'm glad you mentioned that because this is what I think is happening here. I think that NASCAR built this facility to make their own network. I think they wanted to be able to tool up to it, and it's a 10-year plan because the contract they have with the TV markets is about 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is, 15. I can't remember what the actual deal is.
It's
10 years. So they give
NBC came in 2015, and the new TV deal starts in 2025. So
10 year. Okay. So 10-year deal. So this gives them time to tool up, gives them time to figure everything out because they said they're doing the majority of the production, starting with Xfinity. That gives them all that. And then they're also going to do a majority of the production when it comes to some of these other items. I think these other items are what's going to lead it to NASCAR being its own NASCAR network, whether it's a streaming service, which I really think they're going to go towards because nowadays almost everything is moving towards that avenue and everyone else has it. But NASCAR does not.
Yeah,
so I think
they're trying to get into it. They're trying to get into it, and like I think something that's not been talked about enough is that Xfinity is going to be on the CW all next year and years to come, and so because of that, they said that the CW is broadcasting it, but NASCAR is actually doing production, which is a part of that new facility that they built. The only thing I'm a little worried about is, does that mean that the commentators, whoever they're going to be, are they going to be in Charlotte? Like, are they not going to be traveling to the races or whatever? Because
that is a worry.
So Portland for the Xfinity race, McMurray and was it Adam Alexander? I think it was Adam Alexander because he did most of all the Xfinity stuff this year. Adam Alexander and Jamie McMurray did the Portland Xfinity race, and they weren't even there. They were in the Charlotte studios for FS1. And it didn't look that great for one because it just had TV monitors behind them, like, we're calling the race, but we're watching it on TV. Like, so it's just like if you have a monitor in front of you, you're forced to watch that. Whereas like Dale Jr. has said it in the past that when he's been – I don't know if he's been yelled at. There was rumors about it, but like he was like production was like, no, Dale, you need to be paying attention to what's on the monitor because that's what the broadcast is. But Dale's actually looking out the window and watching what's happening on the track and catching the action that's on the track. And
Yeah.
I still feel like that's kind of how it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there because I mean that's kind of one of those things where why when you watch any production, you watch any NFL, MLB, any of those, there's always at least someone there, and that's because the personable part of the broadcast, as well as real time. If they're already somewhere else, you got a delay from the action to them. Well, then you have to have a delay from them to us.
Yeah.
So it puts more time span on what's actually transpiring. So those of us with scanners or the radios, the NASCAR app, we could be 4 or 5 laps ahead just because of the way they're doing the race. Yeah. So they need to have someone at the racetrack. It needs to have that personality to it. They hope they don't miss there.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I find nice is that Dale Jr. can work for 2 separate companies in the same year.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's like some type of alliance between Prime and Turner that's going to be doing that or whatever, but definitely for sure, it's interesting that Dell is going to be doing the two different broadcasting partners, and I'm excited for next year when it comes to Prime. I'm not excited about paying for Prime just to watch NASCAR, but I'm excited for what's going to be new and fresh because Dell has even said that this is like a blank slate that they're coming into, and they are taking a lot of feedback from social media and what the fans are saying and trying to implement that into what's going to be their new broadcast. So, hopefully they do a really good job with it. I think they will. At the end of the day, the broadcast is the most important, aspect. You can have really good racing on the track, and if it's not being shown on TV, then
if you're foxing it, let's just fox is a verb. If you're foxing it, you're foxing
it. That's exactly it. That if you can't show the action that's on the track, and you want to show fans sitting in the stands and all this other bullshit. And like one of the annoying things was like, Fox would come back from commercial and they show like a 30-second plug for like the Monster Girls, like full screen, like what are we doing here? Just wasting time. So
why do we need that? And that's not what people are tuning in for. They sold so many commercial slots that it made the entire broadcast feel cheap. Yeah. And I'm so glad that NBC did it better because, they still had full screen things like old Ty Gibbs had a full screen one for his, and it wasn't bad because it still made the racing picture a majority of the screen and then just a sliver down, sliver over in his car for Monster.
How about too? So like it was a little janky. It was a little bit janky, but I think they'll get it figured out for the next couple races. But the actual the stage 2 like pit box, whatever they called it.
For Christopher Bell, Corey LaJoie.
Like that was pretty interesting. They had the camera, set up where it was showing like how they're going to be making calls and whatnot. Like I think they're definitely going to be able to refine that more. But I like that. I like that new little aspect of showing how they're going to be doing strategy and stuff like that.
And what was really great about that is obviously that whole was it a caution, was it not a caution issue with Hemrick was caught live with Christopher Bell's interim crew chief, or no, Christopher Bell's actual crew chief. It was Briscoe that had the interim. Everyone was very excited about why that was a caution or not a caution, and he got his words heard live on air. So that was perfect.
Yeah, that's I am glad that Fox did a good job with, the pit crews and everything. NBC, I think they're going to do a great job with this highlighting a pit crew team aspect or whatever for each race. Because they said they're going to be doing at least one. I think they just need to stick to one. I think 2 it was a little overboard, just because we're still trying to tune into what's happening in the race. Like if you're just following one team, that's great. If we're going to have like 10 different teams up there, I don't know. I think we're going to be watering it down a little bit. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
like
the
fresh
first time
ideas
they're
like
doing this, so I'm cool with what they got right now. Just continue to roll through, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't. I know I'm looking like a snack. Thank you, Will. I just got your text. But it's a great time for them to show what they can do. NBC right now killing it. We all knew it was going to happen, but they're doing it. They're doing a great job right now.
How about
First
the
race,
race though itself?
doing great.
We went into this weekend expecting it to be kind of a snoozer because
Yeah.
it was still a short track package race,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd repaved just the corners of the track and everything.
Well, the low
else.
lane and the up one lane into the corner.
Yeah, we were all kind of worried going into this weekend, and I'll be honest, I thought it was one of the best races of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe part of it was because of NBC, because they
I
did a
think so.
great job just covering the whole entire race.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, it's a shame it took us so long to get to Iowa. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I do hope it stays on. I believe they've signed at least a 2-year deal to make this happen.
I
think we get it back.
I
Yeah,
hope it stays for the long term because
it's
I think
good, but they need to finish repaving the whole thing.
yes, they need to move. They need to.
That was dumb.
Yeah, they need to
Still
pave
dumb.
all the way up to the wall. Leave the straightaways alone. Just pave the corners. What was also great was we didn't have any shifting. Short track, no shifting.
Yeah.
So
And we had some tire wear, not a lot. They still need to figure out the tires, but we still had some tire wear with fall off.
yeah,
No shifting. And look at the race product we got.
This was a very promising race for. Look, we know how this package has already worked at Martinsville and Bristol and everywhere else.
Yeah.
Richmond, like when we go to Richmond in a couple of weeks, I don't think we're going to have the exact same scenario because Richmond's 3/4 of a mile, Iowa 7/8 of a mile, so it's a bigger track, faster speeds. So I don't know what we're going to see, at some of these other tracks, but Iowa was a breath of fresh air for sure.
Oh, 100%. And I can't wait to see what else we get. I mean, this is the beginning of the year. There's a lot to go on. I'm hoping we get a lot more. So
yeah, we got some good races. We got some good races.
I will say I was wrong. I was very wrong about the racing. You just talked about it. I was very wrong about what I thought was going to happen versus what was. And I'm happy to be wrong because that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong about it too. I didn't publicly go out on TikTok like you did and say that it was going to be a horrible race. You had to redact your comments there.
I said it could possibly be a horrible race.
Yeah,
I was doubting it. I did not straight out say it.
It was a good race. I voted on the Jeff Gluck poll earlier today, and it was like 92% already.
Mm-hmm.
So.
When I voted, it was 92%. So I think this will be the highest rated Iowa NASCAR Cup race.
Anyways, so Ryan Blaney finally gets the win. Good for Ryan.
Good for him.
Yeah, after bouncing back from the Gateway fiasco and everything, Ford is
back. Finally.
Is Ford back because they definitely have found something on these short tracks.
Supposedly, they found horsepower. Supposedly, from what I heard, Denny had even mentioned it, that they have found some horsepower in these motors, and it is paying dividends at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard
Ricky
that,
was the top 5. Yeah, Matt over here on the Instagram side talked about Ricky.
Dude,
you even mentioned it in the group chat.
I said in the group chat, like with 30 laps to go, because Ricky had passed Byron for second. And I'm like, y'all, the 47, what's going on here? Like that was, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So I mean, great for him.
They got a little lucky with strategy to be able to flip the track position and everything. But it's still a good run for that team. I like Ricky. I'm glad that he got a good run. That NOS paint scheme is one of my favorites. Just a clean, perfectly executed paint scheme. So just good weekend for Ricky. Hopefully he can kind of carry some of that confidence through the next couple of weeks here. Ford found some horsepower, it seems like. These short tracks, I think we can I think we can say that Ford is definitely an easy one to bet on now, going into maybe even this weekend with New Hampshire, another short track ish type of
Yeah.
track. It's going to be reliant on mechanical grip more than anything. So I think we could have some safe bets on Ford this weekend.
I agree with you. And it's the perfect timing because obviously being able to be really good at a short track is very important when it comes to racing NASCAR because
In the playoffs.
playoffs, Phoenix, final race. So, obviously they've won it 2 years in a row. You got Logano and now in Blaney last year. It's good that they're figuring this out because it's only going to help them.
Yeah, because we got New Hampshire coming up this weekend, and then Nashville. I hate to say this, but I'm low key, like kind of in the closet on this. I'm excited about the Chicago street course race. I'm hoping that
Y'all
we
heard
have.
it here first. Andy is excited.
Yeah,
Not low key
I'm
no more.
hoping that we have a good weekend weather-wise because I want to see this race. I want to see the street course like with
Dry.
good weather. Yeah, dry. I want
I
to see
want
how
to see it dry
because
I don't think it's going to work out, but I want to see it dry first because I didn't like last year, and I think it's. I want to see it dry.
I thought it was really interesting last year just because the course itself had a lot of character to it, the bumps and everything that we had going on, like
Sailing into the wall with Noah.
Those cars, they were on edge. So I feel like this year, as long as we can have some good weather, NASCAR good weather, okay. We'll see. But street course and then Pocono, Indianapolis at the actual oval. I think that's the most anticipated race of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
Next gen cars at Indy. I can't
Bringing it back, man. Winning there is something special.
Yeah.
And I really think it's going to be a great race. It's one of those that I really wish I could make it to, but unfortunately just not in the cards.
We have 9 more races into the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we have, so after Indy, we have the 2-week Olympic break, which
I'm okay with.
I'm okay with it too. I kind of wish every year we had a break in the middle of the summer.
I wish we had 2 breaks, 2 separate times of the year, not together, separate.
Yeah, more than a week.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a week, but it should be like 1 week, the beginning half, and then 1 week second half. There should be a week gap
Easter
from the last race of the regular season to playoffs, 100%, and then midseason.
Like Easter Sunday, we shouldn't be racing on Easter weekend.
No,
so
not at all.
We got rid of Easter.
But run a Saturday night race. Fix that by just running a Saturday night race, in my opinion.
I mean, yes, you could, but I would be okay with just no racing at all, like Easter. Like that would be like your spring break, because that was March 31st at Richmond was when that was.
But I think NASCAR wants the viewership from people being off of work.
Yeah, I mean, it was a night race, a Sunday night race. Like NASCAR, can we have night racing back? Sure, Sunday night,
Saturday.
Next year, Atlanta summer race, Saturday night. Like, I've already been thinking about that. Like, how great is it going to be that we're going to be able to take a Friday off, go up, immediately see Xfinity racing, and then the Cup race on Saturday. We can come home Sunday. Like, that's going to be nice.
I'm perfectly excited about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Atlanta, Atlanta's one of our favorite tracks to begin with. And then you add in there that it's going to be a Saturday night race. We're probably going to have the boys out there again. And it's just going to be fun.
There again.
Oh, yeah. We're just going to have fun. Like, it's going to be a great time. I love Saturday night races. I hate Sunday night races. I got to work.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And then after the Olympics, we have Richmond night race again on Sunday, 6:30.
Yep.
Don't understand it. Michigan, Daytona, Darlington. So we've got some good tracks coming up. I feel
like it's been a decade since we went to a race.
Do what?
I feel like it's been decades since we went to a race.
I don't. We have 12 weeks. Am I seeing this right? 1, 2, 3.
I got
4,
3 more. You got 2
7,
more, right?
8,
Because you're not
9,
going to Bristol, right?
10, 11. 11 weeks, 12 weeks until Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm still Bristol might be a possibility. I'm still 50-50 on it
Got a
because
free
I want
place
to do
stay.
the Xfinity race Friday night because Adele Jr. is racing it. I want to be there.
Of course.
I even wore
Yeah,
that.
of course, the Hellman's car. Yeah. Well,
I
we got a
just-
free
I
place
gotta-
to stay, so
Huh?
we got a free place to stay, so
We do?
yeah.
Who?
Chat with me after.
Oh,
We got a free place.
yeah. Okay.
We got a free place.
Yeah, I'm like 50-50 on it because I may be able to do leave work at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and drive straight up and get to the track right when the race is getting ready to start or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
I think you should scope out a new CNC location. Never mind.
No, I'm good. I'm perfectly good.
All right.
Scope out a new career.
Oh, all right. So awesome race in Iowa. Great times there. We're at 46 minutes. So let's move into picks. Can we give Mr. Consistent his props? Chase with another top 5.
David, if you would have been paying
Why he's the
attention,
point leader.
if you would have been paying attention earlier in the show, we talked about that. I gave Chase his props.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how Chase is regular season points leader, even though his teammate is 8 points behind him and missed a race?
It's true. That part's true.
Yeah, I just like that.
Super consistent on that part. Oh, is David a Chase Elliott fan?
He is.
He's a Smelliot fan? Congratulations. I was delivered from the dark side. So
You had an exorcism.
yes. All right. So let's go through the good old. To be fair, I was on the phone with my wife. No excuse. No excuse. We're more important. Remember that.
Excuse. All right.
So let's get our picks in. I am going to go out on a limb here and go with Dennis Hamlin.
Yeah. I like it. I do like it. And I know I said about 20 minutes ago that Fords were going to be a safe pick for this weekend, but I'm not picking a Ford for this weekend.
Who
You
you
know who
got?
I'm picking?
Kyle Larson?
No, I'm not. I'm not picking him. Hendrick. I'm gonna go ahead and say Hendrick is not going to be. They're not going to be themselves this weekend. They never really are.
Be a good race.
This isn't a Hendrick racetrack.
No, not at all.
My pick is he came off his retirement announcement, and it's going to be Martin Truex Jr.
I can see it.
I think Truex is going to deliver it.
I think he gets a win for sure this year. This could be it. I agree with you.
Yeah. Little sad that Truex is retiring. He's kind of the last. So
I mentioned it in the Chairgate podcast last week. One thing I noticed when the haulers came in at Charlotte this last time, Coke 600, then the 19 hauler always had a custom deck plate with the 19 cut out of it with some extra stuff, and it was backlit. This time, that's not there. So either it was a separate truck or they're already starting to take away some of the custom stuff because that number might be changing. But I thought that was very interesting because there's rumors that the 18 can come back.
18 is going to come back, and it's going to be fucking Briscoe, of all people.
Well, there's also talks now that Justin Haley, it might be leaving Ripper Racing after only 1 year and saying that he wanted to be there to build this team. But there's weird rumors going out for it because there's rumors that he could possibly go for that car. There's rumors that he could go to the Wood Brothers. There's a lot of weird rumors out there.
I could see Justin at the Wood Brothers because Harrison hasn't done anything.
I can see Harrison not being there.
Yeah.
But why would Justin Haley go from he's doing decent in Rickware Racing? He's helping that team.
Look, we really do have to kind of talk about him for just a second. He has whether you like him or not, he has done a phenomenal job in Rickware equipment and getting he qualified top 15, was maybe even it was top 15. Justin's done a really good job this year in Rickware equipment.
Phenomenal for the equipment that he's in. Phenomenal.
Yeah. But I can see Justin making the move to the Wood Brothers. I really can't see him going to Joe Gibbs. Like, what money is he going to bring over there? Because I think what helps Briscoe with all the rumors going to Gibbs would be just the Mahindra money, the money from Mahindra, and who else does he have? Well, it wouldn't be Rush because they'd probably be dropping out.
I think Rush is gone. Yeah,
That's Tony. That's Tony's endeavor too. So I don't know. I don't really like Briscoe. I feel like he should be working at Target with Harrison Burton. But yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But a lot of silly season news coming. We'll make sure we keep you all up to date on that over on our TikTok. So go make sure that you go and hit that like and follow over there. Plenty of content, news that I do over there. Obviously, we do the podcast every Monday at 7:30. Thank you to Kanga Coolers for our sponsorship. We also have a TikTok shop now with some items in it that you might need if you go to a race. It's got stuff like generators, camera holders, things like that. So you can check that out, and those go towards helping us out. Kanga Coolers, it is Fascar 10. That code will get you 10% off. Icy Breeze, I got a thing set up with them now too. I got to get that posted around and figure that part out. But thank y'all for everything. That's all I got. You got anything else?
That's all I got. Hey, Charlotte called today, and I renewed our campsite for the 600 next year.
I always love it.
Yep.
Always love it.
He was like, would you like to renew? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and when that spot next to it comes open, won't it too?
Yeah, I asked him about it. He was like, yeah, it's still in renewals right now. I'm like, whatever.
But we'll see what happens for it. But that's all I got. So till next time, see you.
Bye-bye.